Semantics, a term originating from ancient Greek meaning significant, explores the concept of truth, reference, or meaning. It encompasses various fields, including linguistics, philosophy, and computer science. The study of language meaning in English has often been linked to the Greek word for sign, mark, token. The term semiotics, the study of signs and symbols interpretation, appeared in 1690 in John Locke's work An Essay Concerning Human Understanding in 1831. Semiotology was proposed as another term for similar study field. In 1857, semasiology, studying the development of words' meaning, was proposed by Josiah W. Gibbs. The term semantics was first used to translate French term sémantique as proposed by Michael Brial in 1893. He regarded his work as an introduction to the science of meaning, or semantics. In 1922, the application of semantics in mathematical logic was attested in Poland. The theory was germane to the works of Korzybski in the United States. The term resurfaced in the 1960s in publications by Robert W. Floyd and Tony Hoare, exploring semantics for programming languages, which eventually led to axiomatic semantics, operational semantics, and denotational semantics. Floyd emphasized that a semantic definition of a programming language is rooted in a syntactic definition and should specify which phrases in a program represent commands. Significant advancements in the field of linguistic semantics were achieved through studies conducted during the 1980s and 90s, focusing on areas such as the syntax, sempragmatics, interface, and pragmatics. Intense interactions between the semantic dimension of language and other components, most notably syntax, pragmatics, and phonology, gave rise to the concept of interfaces describing these synergies. Formal semantics seeks to unveil specific cognitive operations enacted by speakers as they decipher a sentence's meaning based on its syntax. Such theories are generally underpinned by those of syntax, utilizing mathematical models like typed lambda calculus. The origins of formal semantics lies in early 20th century philosophical logic, along with later conceptions of linguistic syntax, establishing its own research domain in the 1970s pioneered by Richard Montague and Barbara Partee. One significant strand of the field is cognitive semantics, which interprets meaning from the standpoint of cognitive linguistics, positing that language understanding relies on overall cognitive abilities rather than a unique language. Specific module. This approach is widely employed in lexicon-centered studies, with contributions from scholars such as Leonard Talmy, George Lakoff, Dirk Gerards, and Bruce Wayne Hawkins. The theory of lexical semantics, which examines word connotations, asserts that a word's complete meaning is defined by the context in which it is used. Accordingly, word meaning is extracted from a complex web of contextual associations. In this model, distinctive levels and types of involvement in meaning creation are acknowledged. By identifying the parts of a sentence contributing to and intertwining with meanings of others as semantic constituents, those that cannot be further deconstructed are recognized as minimal semantic constituents. A separate theory attempts to account for the characteristics of argument structure based on the premise that the meanings of the words within a phrase influence its syntactic properties. This approach allows linguists to tackle the effects of nuanced alterations in word meanings on the syntactic structure within which the words exist by dissecting the internal arrangement of words into smaller, meaning-bearing units known as semantic primitives. The debate on whether key terms can be translated or not has gained prominence in international conversations in recent years. This has been significantly influenced by the publishing of Barbara Casson's Dictionary of Untranslatables, a philosophical lexicon. In 2014, this discourse branches off into the field of computational semantics, which is the analysis of linguistic meanings through specific algorithms and architecture. This field scrutinizes these algorithms and architectures in relation to their decidability, time, and space complexity, as well as the data structures they need and the communication protocols they use. This analytical approach to semantics has its roots in the philosophical logic and language philosophy of the early 20th century. Seminal figures like Gottlob Frege and Bertrand Russell established a tradition in analytic philosophy, where meaning is explained compositionally using syntax and mathematical functionality. Ludwig Wittgenstein, Russell's former student, stands as another luminary in this tradition. These philosophers were focused on how sentences convey information in the form of propositions and their truth values and conditions. In modern-day philosophy, semantics often refers to the linguistic formal semantics that form a bridge between linguistics and philosophy. There's also an ongoing study of meta, semantics that explores the foundation semantics in natural language. In computer science, semantics is understood as the meanings of language constructs as opposed to their form or syntax. This concept is crucial to programming languages and is comprehensively studied within the field. Several approaches using mathematical logic have been taken to formally describe the semantics of programming languages. This includes operational semantics, where meaning is defined by the computation the construct elicits while running on a machine. Denotational semantics, where meanings are represented by mathematical objects that depict the effect of executing the constructs. Lastly, axiomatic semantics, where specific properties of the effects of executing the constructs are articulated as assertions. Semantic memory represents the concept of memory for meaning, encapsulating the essence or core significance of an experience. In contrast, episodic memory is dedicated to preserving fleeting details, the unique specifics of individual experiences. The term episodic memory was first used in the realm of declarative memory, a concept introduced by Tulving and Schachter that encapsulates the simple association of facts or objective information regarding an object. Semantic memory categorizes meanings based on their relationships with other words within the semantic network, the company they keep. These memories can be passed down through generations or confined to a single generation due to cultural disruptions, leading to different generational experiences and possible divergent understanding of certain words in a culturally homogeneous environment. In networks established by individuals analyzing their interpretation of a word, e.g. WordNet, the linkages and decomposition structures are limited in type and quantity, comprising mostly of part of, kind of, and similar relational links. In contrast, automated ontologies utilize computed vectors that do not have an explicit meaning. Technological advancements have facilitated new methods to compute word meanings, such as latent semantic indexing, support vector machines, natural language processing, artificial neural networks, and predicate calculus technique. Ideesthesia refers to a psychological phenomenon where concept activation triggers sensory experiences, aptly demonstrated in the case of synesthesia. For instance, the concept of a letter, like A, inducing sensory, like experiences of the color red. The 1960s heralded the popularity of psychosemantic studies, thanks to Charles E. Osgood's extensive cross-cultural studies using his semantic differential SD method. The method involved thousands of nouns and bipolar adjective scales. A variant of SD, the projective semantics method, uses only the most common and neutral nouns consistent with the 7 groups of adjectives. Scales were currently found in cross-cultural studies, for instance. Examples of corresponding nouns for the 7 factors include beauty, power, motion, life, work, chaos, and law. However, irregularities in this symmetrical framework may reveal biases related to both scales and objects. This object-scale symmetry, OS, aimed to enhance the SD method's sensitivity to potential semantic biases in responses from individuals sharing a common cultural and educational background. This essentially implies that different cultures and even different individuals within the same culture will not all conceptualize things, like words in their language, identically. This fuels an ongoing discourse, such as that found in the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis or the often cited example of multiple Eskimo terms for snow.